The country club ballroom was decorated for my father's 70th birthday party. Elegant without being ostentatious, expensive but tasteful. 200 guests mingled over cocktails and canapés, celebrating Thomas Chen's 7 decades of life and success as a real estate developer. I stood near the windows overlooking the golf course, nursing a glass of wine and trying to stay out of the way. My sister Victoria held court near the entrance, showing off her new engagement ring to anyone who would look. 3 carats, platinum setting, probably cost her fiancé 6 months' salary. "That's a pretty necklace," my cousin Amy said, gesturing to the pendant I wore. "Is it new?" I touched the delicate piece reflexively. A vintage Art Deco necklace with intricate metalwork and what appeared to be small diamonds arranged in a geometric pattern. "I've had it for about 3 years. Found it at an estate sale. It suits you. Very elegant." "Thank you." I'd bought the necklace from an estate sale in Portland for $800. Far more than I usually spent on jewelry, but something about the piece had called to me. The craftsmanship was exceptional, the design timeless. I wore it often, considering it my lucky necklace, even though I wasn't particularly superstitious. Victoria noticed me from across the room and immediately started in my direction, her expression calculating. My sister had a way of evaluating everything I owned to determine if she wanted it. "Nina," she said, using the tone that meant she was about to ask for something. "I love that necklace you're wearing." "Thanks." It was an estate sale find. It would go perfectly with my wedding dress. The Art Deco style matches my vintage theme perfectly. She smiled, but there was steel underneath. "You should let me borrow it for the wedding. Or better yet, just give it to me. You know I have better taste in jewelry anyway." "I'm not giving you my necklace, Victoria." Her smile hardened. "Don't be selfish. You barely wear nice things anyway. What do you need an elegant necklace for? You work in a museum. It's not like you go anywhere important." "I work as a curator at the Metropolitan Museum," I corrected. "And I'm not giving you my jewelry." "God, you're such a bitch sometimes." She reached for the necklace. "Just let me see it." I stepped back. "Don't touch it. It's just a necklace, Nina. Stop being dramatic." He grabbed for it again, fingers catching the chain. I pulled away more forcefully. "Victoria, stop. Give me that necklace. You don't deserve nice things anyway," she shouted, drawing attention from nearby guests. She lunged forward, actually trying to yank it off my neck. I stepped back and calmly unclasped it, holding it out of her reach. "This necklace?" I asked, keeping my voice level despite my racing heart. "You want this specific necklace?" "Yes. It's perfect for my wedding and you're being selfish by—" "Excuse me," a cultured voice interrupted. I couldn't help but overhear. We both turned to see an impeccably dressed older man approaching, his eyes fixed on the necklace in my hand. He wore a jeweler's loop around his neck and carried a leather portfolio. "I'm Marcus Sterling," he said, introducing himself to me while completely ignoring Victoria. "Your father hired me to appraise some pieces for his collection tonight. But that necklace you're holding, may I examine it?" "Of course," I said, confused but handing it over carefully. Marcus pulled out his loop and studied the piece intensely, his expression shifting from interest to shock to what could only be described as awe. His hands actually trembled slightly as he turned it over, examining the hallmarks and construction. "Oh my God," he breathed. This can't be, but it is." "What?" Victoria demanded. "What is it?" Marcus looked up, his face pale. "This is the missing piece from the Fitzgerald collection. I'd recognize the craftsmanship anywhere. See this hallmark?" He pointed to a tiny mark I'd never noticed. "That's Gerard Bouchard's signature mark. He only made 6 pieces for the Fitzgerald family in 1924, and 5 are accounted for. The 6th disappeared in 1962 when the Fitzgerald estate was liquidated. The small crowd that had gathered around us had gone silent." "I don't understand," I said. "I bought this at an estate sale in Portland 3 years ago for $800. $800? Marcus actually laughed, though it sounded slightly hysterical. "Miss Chen, this necklace is worth approximately $8.7 million. It's one of the finest examples of Art Deco jewelry in existence, with flawless diamonds totaling 11 carats, platinum metalwork, and historical provenance that makes it priceless to collectors." The silence that followed was absolute. Victoria's hand, still extended toward me, froze mid-air. Her face had gone from demanding to stunned to a peculiar shade of green. 8.7 million? My father asked, appearing beside us. Nina, you've been wearing an $8 million necklace to family dinners? I didn't know, I said, staring at the pendant in Marcus's hands. I thought it was just a nice vintage piece. Where exactly did you buy this? Marcus asked urgently. I need to know the provenance. A estate sale in Portland. The Morrison estate, I think. It was 3 years ago. They were liquidating an elderly woman's belongings. I bought several pieces of furniture and some books, and I saw the necklace in a case of costume jewelry. Costume jewelry, Marcus repeated faintly. Someone put an $8 million necklace in with costume jewelry. Is it real though? Victoria interjected, her voice shrill. How do we know it's actually worth that much? Maybe you're wrong. I'm not wrong, Marcus said firmly. I've spent 40 years studying the Fitzgerald collection. I wrote my master's thesis on Gerard Bouchard's work. This is authentic and it's been missing for 63 years. The Museum of Fine Arts in Boston has been searching for it since 1985. The Fitzgerald family heirs have offered a reward for its return. A reward? My father asked. $200,000 to anyone who can verify its location and return it to the family. Marcus carefully handed the necklace back to me. Though frankly, Miss Chen, you have no obligation to return it. You purchased it legally at a public sale. It's yours. What? Victoria shrieked. She bought it for $800. She doesn't deserve to keep an $8 million necklace. She bought it at a legal sale, Marcus repeated calmly. Regardless of the price, it's her property now. That's not fair. Victoria turned to our father. Dad, tell her she has to share it with the family. Or sell it and split the money. She can't just keep $8 million worth of jewelry. My father was staring at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Nina, is this true? You bought this 3 years ago. Yes. I've been wearing it regularly since then. To work, to family events, to the grocery store. I looked at the necklace, seeing it differently now. I had no idea it was valuable. I just thought it was pretty. You work at the Metropolitan Museum, Marcus said suddenly, his tone shifting. As a curator? In which department? European Decorative Arts, specializing in 18th and 19th century jewelry and metalwork. He stared at me. You're a jewelry expert and you didn't recognize a Bouchard piece? Bouchard worked primarily in the 1920s and 30s. That's outside my area of specialty. I focus on earlier periods. And honestly, it never occurred to me to have my own jewelry professionally appraised. It was an estate sale find. I assumed it was just a good reproduction. A good reproduction, he repeated, shaking his head in disbelief. Do you know what the odds are of finding a piece like this at a random estate sale? Apparently pretty good if you actually did it, my brother David said, approaching with a grin. Nina, this is the most Nina thing ever. You accidentally buy a multi-million-dollar necklace and wear it to Target. Despite the tension, I laughed. I have worn it to Target. What are you going to do with it? My father asked seriously. This changes things, Nina. This is significant wealth. I don't know, I admitted. I just found out about it 30 seconds ago. You should sell it, Victoria said immediately. Sell it and split the money with the family. That's only fair. Why would that be fair? David challenged. Nina bought it. It's hers. She bought it by accident. She didn't know what it was worth. So, she still bought it. She took the risk, she did the research, she went to the estate sale. The fact that she got lucky doesn't mean she has to share. Victoria turned to our father. Dad, you agree with me, right? Families should share significant windfalls. That's what you always taught us. My father looked uncomfortable. Victoria, it's Nina's necklace. She purchased it legally. Whether she knew its value or not doesn't change the ownership. That's not fair. Victoria's voice was rising again. She doesn't even care about jewelry. She wears the same 4 outfits all the time. She drives a 12-year-old car. She doesn't need $8 million. And you do. I asked quietly. I'm getting married. I have a wedding to pay for, a house to buy with Ryan, a future to plan. You're just going to use the money for more books and museum donations. Would that be so terrible? I asked. Using money to support the arts and education? See? See? Victoria gestured at me wildly. She doesn't even want normal things. She's going to waste it on charity. Charity isn't waste, our father said firmly. Victoria, enough. The necklace is Nina's. How she chooses to use it or the money from selling it is her decision, not yours. This is bullshit, Victoria spat. She gets everything. She's always been your favorite and now she gets to be rich too. I've been your favorite? I repeated, genuinely shocked. Victoria, you're the one Dad always brags about. The successful attorney, the beautiful fiancé, the perfect daughter. Oh please, she scoffed. You're the smart one. The accomplished one. The curator at the prestigious museum. I'm just a corporate lawyer. Just a corporate lawyer who makes 3 times my salary, I pointed out. Money isn't everything, she snapped, then seemed to realize the irony of saying that while demanding I give her an $8 million necklace. Marcus cleared his throat. If I may interject? Miss Chen, regardless of what you decide to do with the piece, it needs to be properly insured immediately. I can provide you with contacts for specialized jewelry insurance. And if you're interested in selling, I know several collectors who would pay premium prices at auction. How much at auction? My mother asked, appearing with a champagne flute in hand. She'd clearly just gotten the news from another guest. Really, 8 million? Possibly more, Marcus admitted. At auction, with proper authentication and provenance documentation, this could sell for anywhere between 8 and 12 million, depending on bidder interest. The Fitzgerald family connection adds significant value. 12 million, my mother breathed, appearing suddenly with a champagne flute in hand. She'd clearly just gotten the news from another guest and rushed over. Nina, darling, you should definitely sell it. Invest the money wisely, set yourself up for life. Real estate, perhaps. Your father could advise you on properties. Or keep it, David suggested, giving Mom a look. It's a gorgeous piece. And it's not like Nina needs to sell it for money. She's already financially stable. Everyone turned to look at him. I could see the wheels turning in multiple heads. How would David know about my financial situation unless I'd told him things I hadn't shared with the rest of the family? What? Victoria demanded, her voice sharp. What do you mean she's financially stable? He works at a museum. They don't exactly pay curators a fortune. David glanced at me, realizing he might have said something he shouldn't have. I gave him a slight nod. Might as well get it all out there. I just mean, Nina's always been good with money. She lives within her means, she invests wisely. She's been doing it for years. Investing what? Victoria challenged. On a curator's salary? I make $72,000 a year, I said calmly. Which is enough to live comfortably in Queens, save regularly and invest in index funds. I've been contributing to retirement accounts since I was 25. I also inherited money from Grandma Chen. We all did, remember? That was only $50,000, Victoria said dismissively. Barely worth mentioning. It was $75,000, I corrected. And I invested it in 2012, right after the market recovered from the 2008 crash. It's worth about $230,000 now, plus the additional contributions I've made over the years. My mother's eyebrows rose. $230,000? Nina, I had no idea you'd been so diligent with that money. Why would you? No one ever asks about my finances. I shrugged. But yes, I've been saving and investing for 15 years. I have about $450,000 in various retirement and investment accounts. Not wealthy but comfortable. The silence that followed was heavy with recalculation. My family was doing the math, adjusting their image of me from the struggling artist type to someone who'd quietly built a substantial nest egg. $450,000, Victoria repeated slowly. You have almost $500,000 saved and you're still wearing Target clothes and driving that ancient Honda? Why wouldn't I? The clothes fit and the car runs. I don't need expensive things to be happy. I gestured to the necklace back in Marcus's careful hands. Case in point, I've been wearing an $8 million necklace for 3 years and enjoying it just as much as when I thought it cost $800. That's different, Victoria protested, though she seemed uncertain now. Is it? The necklace didn't change. Only the price tag did. Why should that change how I feel about it? Because it's worth $8 million. She was almost shouting now, drawing looks from across the room. You can't just pretend that doesn't matter. I'm not pretending it doesn't matter, I said patiently. I'm saying the monetary value doesn't change the intrinsic value. It was beautiful at $800. It's still beautiful at $8 million. The only thing that changed is what other people think it's worth. Marcus, who'd been quietly documenting the necklace with his phone camera, spoke up. Miss Chen has a point actually. One of the challenges in the art and jewelry world is that we sometimes conflate monetary value with artistic value. This necklace is worth millions because of its provenance and rarity, but its artistic merit exists independent of its price. Thank you, I said gratefully. However, he continued, you should still insure it immediately. Regardless of your philosophical position on value, walking around with $8 million around your neck is objectively risky. Fair point, I conceded, though I've been doing it accidentally for 3 years. Which terrifies me retroactively, he admitted. Do you realize you could have lost it? Someone could have stolen it. You could have damaged it. But I didn't. I took care of it because I valued it, not because of its price tag but because it was meaningful to me. That's the point I'm trying to make. Victoria threw up her hands. Fine. You're some kind of Zen master who doesn't care about money. That still doesn't explain why you won't share this with your family. Share how? I asked. Should I cut the necklace into pieces so we each get a chunk? Don't be ridiculous. You could sell it and split the money. Why would I do that? I bought it. With my money. At a public sale. You weren't there. You didn't take the risk. You didn't do the research or the legwork or anything else. Why would you deserve a share? Because we're family. Victoria's voice cracked slightly. Family shares significant windfalls. That's what family does. Does it? I looked at my father. Dad, when you got that big development deal 5 years ago, the one that netted you $3 million in profits, did you split that with all of us? He looked uncomfortable. That was different. That was business earnings. And this is an asset I purchased. How is that different? I worked for that money, he said, though he didn't sound entirely convinced. And I worked for the money I used to buy this necklace. I earned my salary, I saved diligently, I went to estate sales on my weekends. The fact that I got lucky doesn't negate the work I put in. My mother interjected, Nina, darling, I think what your sister is trying to say badly is that this is such a significant windfall that it feels unfair for only one person to benefit. Especially when you already have substantial savings. Mom, Victoria makes $300,000 a year. David makes about $150,000 as an architect. You and Dad have a net worth of at least $5 million. I'm the one making the least in this family. If anyone needs a windfall, it's me. You just said you have $450,000 saved, Victoria snapped. Which I accumulated over 15 years of careful saving. How much do you have saved, Victoria? She flushed. That's none of your business. Exactly my point. We don't interrogate each other about our finances normally. But suddenly, because I have something valuable, everyone feels entitled to know my net worth and make decisions about what I should do with my property. David laughed softly. She's got you there, Vic. Whose side are you on? Victoria demanded. The side of logic and fairness. Nina bought the necklace. It's hers. What she does with it is her business, not ours. He paused. Though I am curious what you're going to do with it. All eyes turned back to me. I touched the necklace where Marcus had carefully placed it back around my neck, feeling its weight differently now. $8.7 million. More money than I'd earn in my entire career as a museum curator. Life-changing wealth, all from a chance purchase at an estate sale. I'm not sure yet, I admitted. I need time to think, to research my options, to consult with experts about the best way to handle this responsibly. Responsibly, Victoria muttered. Of course you need to be responsible about it. God forbid you do something fun or spontaneous. What would you do? I asked her directly. If this were your necklace, what would you do with it? He didn't hesitate. Sell it. Buy a house in Wellington Heights. Maybe a beach property in the Hamptons. Upgrade my car. Take a year off work to travel. Live the life I deserve. The life you deserve based on getting lucky at an estate sale? Based on being smart enough to recognize value when I see it. But you didn't recognize value. You wanted the necklace because you thought it was pretty and would match your wedding dress. You had no idea it was valuable until Marcus identified it. She had no response to that. Here's what I think, I said slowly, the decision crystallizing as I spoke. This necklace has a history. It was made for a specific family almost 100 years ago. It disappeared 63 years ago under circumstances we don't fully understand. It's been missing from the Fitzgerald collection for decades. Museums and collectors have been searching for it. So? Victoria asked impatiently. So it doesn't really belong to me. Not in the way that matters. Yes, I legally own it. Yes, I bought it fairly. But morally, ethically, this is part of someone's family heritage. It should be with them. Marcus had been listening intently. You're thinking of returning it to the Fitzgerald family? I'm thinking of offering them the opportunity to purchase it at a fair price. Not the full market value, they'd never be able to afford that. But something reasonable that acknowledges both the historical significance and my legal ownership. That's stupid, Victoria said flatly. You'd be leaving millions of dollars on the table. I'd be doing the right thing, I corrected. And I'd still come away with more money than I ever expected to have. How much more? My father asked quietly. I don't know yet. I'd need to negotiate with the family, determine what they can afford, what price would be fair. But even if they could only pay 2 or 3 million, that's still an enormous windfall for me. Or you could sell it at auction for 12 million, Victoria pointed out. And spend the rest of my life knowing I profited off someone else's family history. Knowing that the Fitzgerald collection remains incomplete because I prioritized maximum profit over doing what's right. I shook my head. That's not who I am. Who you are is someone who lets people take advantage of you, Victoria said bitterly. Or someone who understands that not everything is about extracting maximum value, David countered. Nina's right. The historical and ethical considerations matter here. My father had been quiet through this exchange, but now he spoke. Nina, I respect your decision. Whatever you choose to do with the necklace, your mother and I will support you. Even if she gives away millions of dollars? Victoria challenged. Even then, my father said firmly. Because the money isn't what matters. What matters is that Nina handles this with integrity. That she makes a decision she can live with. That she doesn't compromise her values for profit. Since when do we have values that turn down millions of dollars? Victoria asked bitterly. Since always, my father said quietly. Or at least we should have. Maybe this is a good reminder that there are more important things than maximizing wealth. Victoria looked at all of us. Me in my Target dress with my $8 million necklace, David supporting my decision, our parents backing my integrity over profit, and something in her expression cracked. I don't understand you people, she said, her voice breaking. I've spent my whole life trying to be successful. Trying to make money to afford nice things to look impressive. And Nina just exists. Lives in her tiny apartment, wears her old clothes, drives her ancient car. And somehow she ends up with millions of dollars and family approval while I'm the bad guy for wanting my share. You're not the bad guy, I said gently. You're just measuring success differently than I do. Clearly, she said. Because from where I'm standing, you're being an idiot who's going to give away a fortune for moral satisfaction. Maybe, I agreed. But I'll be an idiot who can sleep at night. She stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked away, her designer heels clicking sharply against the country club's marble floors. My father intervened. Everyone, this is my birthday party. We're not going to spend it arguing about Nina's jewelry. Marcus, thank you for the appraisal. Nina, we'll discuss this later as a family if you'd like. For now, let's return to celebrating. The crowd slowly dispersed, though I could feel eyes on me for the rest of the evening. The curator who accidentally bought an $8 million necklace. The sister who refused to share her windfall. The quiet middle child who suddenly had more wealth than the rest of the family combined. I carefully put the necklace back on, hyper-aware of its weight now in a way I'd never been before. $8.7 million. Just hanging around my neck. I'd worn it to the grocery store. To the movies. To work at one of the world's premier museums. David found me later, bringing me a fresh glass of wine. How are you holding up? I'm not sure yet. This is surreal. What are you going to do? I honestly don't know. Part of me wants to keep it because it's beautiful and it feels lucky. Part of me wants to sell it and donate the money to the museum's acquisition fund. Part of me wants to return it to the Fitzgerald family for the reward and the historical completion. All valid options, David said. Though I vote you keep it just to spite Victoria. I laughed. Despite everything. That's not a good reason to keep an $8 million necklace. It's not a bad reason either. He paused. She's jealous, you know. Always has been. Of me. Why? Because you genuinely don't care about the things she cares about. You're happy with your work and your apartment and your used car. You're not constantly chasing status or money or validation. It drives her crazy that you're content. I'm content because I make a decent salary doing work I love, I said. That's not something to be jealous of. She could have the same thing if she wanted it. Could she though? Victoria's always been focused on external measures of success. High salary, prestigious title, expensive things. You measure success differently and that makes her feel like you're judging her choices. I'm not judging her choices. I'm just living my life. I know. But try telling her that. After the party, after the guest had gone home and only family remained, my father asked to speak with me privately. We sat in the country club's library, just the two of us. Nina, I want you to know I'm proud of you, he said without preamble. The way you handled Victoria tonight. Calm, mature, refusing to be manipulated. That showed real character. Thanks, Dad. I also want to apologize. Victoria was right about one thing. I have spent more time celebrating her accomplishments than yours. Not because I love you less or value your work less, but because she demands attention in a way you don't. You've always been quietly successful, content to work behind the scenes. I should have made more effort to recognize that. It's okay, Dad. I know you're proud of me. Do you? Because I worry that I haven't said it enough. Your work at the Metropolitan Museum is remarkable. The exhibitions you've curated, the research you've published, the education programs you've developed. Nina, you're doing genuinely important work. The fact that it's not flashy or highly paid doesn't make it less valuable. I felt unexpected tears pricking at my eyes. Thank you. That means a lot. What are you going to do about the necklace? I think I'm going to contact the Fitzgerald family, I said, surprised to hear myself say it. Not to return it for the reward but to offer them the option to purchase it at a fair price. The historical value of keeping it in the family might be worth more to them than the monetary value. That's generous. It's practical. The necklace is beautiful but it's not really mine. Not in the way that matters. I bought it by accident. I wore it in ignorance. Yes, I legally own it but morally, it belongs with the family that commissioned it. They should have the chance to buy it back. And if they can't afford it? Then I'll sell it at auction and donate a significant portion to the museum. Keep enough to be comfortable but use the rest for something meaningful. I touched the necklace. $8 million is more than anyone needs. It should do some good. My father smiled. See, that's what I'm talking about. You accidentally acquire wealth and your first thought is how to use it responsibly. Victoria would have bought a new house and a luxury car. You're thinking about historical preservation and charitable donations. Is that bad? It's different. And right now, different is exactly what this family needs. Over the next few weeks, the story spread through our social circles. The curator who bought the missing Fitzgerald necklace at an estate sale. Reactions ranged from amazement to jealousy to criticism. Victoria stopped speaking to me entirely, furious that I wouldn't give her the necklace or split any potential sale money. My mother suggested repeatedly that I should sell it and invest in real estate. Friends asked if I'd wear it to events now that I knew its value. I contacted the Fitzgerald family through their lawyers. After verification and authentication by multiple experts, we negotiated a sale price of $7.2 million. Slightly below market value but enough to give them a family discount while still providing me with life-changing money. The family was grateful, emotional, and insisted on the full reward payment despite my protests. I ended up with $7.4 million. More money than I'd ever imagined having. I donated $3 million to the Metropolitan Museum's Decorative Arts Acquisition Fund. $1 million went to a foundation supporting arts education in underserved communities. $1 million went into conservative investments for my future. And I kept the remaining $2.4 million liquid for opportunities and emergencies. 6 months after my father's birthday party, I invited my family to a special exhibition at the museum, the Fitzgerald Collection, complete at last. The necklace was displayed alongside its 5 companion pieces, reunited for the first time since 1962. Victoria came, though she stood as far from me as possible during the opening reception. But I caught her staring at the necklace in its display case, and I saw something that might have been understanding on her face. After the reception, she approached me awkwardly. "It's beautiful. The whole collection, I mean." "It is," I agreed. "I'm glad they're together again." "I was a bitch at Dad's party," she said abruptly. "I tried to grab it off your neck like a toddler fighting over a toy. I'm embarrassed." "Thank you for saying that." "I was jealous," she admitted. "Still am if I'm honest. Not of the money, though that doesn't hurt, but of how you handled it. You knew what to do. You didn't agonize or stress or make a big deal. You just made a decision and moved forward." "I agonized plenty," I assured her. "I just did it privately." She laughed, and it sounded genuine. "Fair enough." She gestured at the display. "They're lucky to have it back. The family, I mean. I was lucky to find it. Luckier still to be able to return it." "Most people wouldn't have," she observed. "Most people would have kept it or sold it to the highest bidder." "Maybe. But I'm not most people." "No," Victoria agreed. "You're really not." We stood together in front of the display case, looking at the necklace I'd worn to Target and family dinners and work for 3 years without knowing its value. "I still think you should have kept it," she said finally. "But I understand why you didn't." "That's progress," I said with a smile. "Small steps," she agreed. My father joined us, looking at the collection with admiration. "It's magnificent. All of it. Nina, you did the right thing." "I did what felt right," I corrected. "That's not always the same thing." "It is for you," he said quietly. "That's what makes you special." The necklace gleamed in its case, surrounded by its companion pieces, complete and whole and exactly where it belonged. And I realized that sometimes lucky didn't mean keeping what you found. Sometimes lucky meant knowing when to let it go. I was Nina Chen. My sister tried to grab my lucky necklace off my neck at my father's birthday. She didn't know it was worth $8.7 million. And I didn't know that giving it back would be worth so much more.